Make some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? Kid Copious. Back in the bunker. Purple State Party. You know what we're doing here. We're repping America, the center, common sense. An end to these political parties, these political games. New sticker. Can't figure out where the hell to point to. There it is. Amoeba over there, right under the hammers. Yeah. Feeling good today. Starting to see some change. Starting to see some fight back. Starting to see some things going our way. So we'll start right now. Title of this episode, Smokey and the Brandon. Great film, Smokey and the Bandit. Held up well. Think you should watch it. You know, it might trigger some of your sensitivities, but it's a good movie. But you know, I myself like fair and balanced, right? We don't see that in the media, of course. You know, we just don't. You know, the report comes out that Biden ignored the U.S. Plans for the withdrawal in Afghanistan. Some of it was influenced by his wife, who suddenly, you know, is smarter than generals. But they told him what was going to happen. He knew, and he didn't listen. Just like he doesn't listen. Democrats, as a whole, don't listen to the people. Okay, they listen to a bunch of entitled 20-year-old white girls. That's what they listen to. They listen to social media. They try to be hip. They try to be the cool parents. You know? I'm a cool parent. But that's because I don't try. I'm just myself. And, you know, fortunately it worked out well for me. Biden's yelling at Lester Holt here. You know, he rages and rambles in an interview because he has no good answers on inflation. You know, economists have said that the last round of stimulus and spending by him was what pushed us over the edge. He's not come up with any sort of plans. He blames things like COVID and the supply chains. But that's not the cause. We know what the cause is. Government spending. Too much money. You know, that's what causes inflation. Rising fuel costs. When you signal to OPEC that you're not going to make your own fuel, OPEC raises the price. Now, people can argue, well, you know, $93 a barrel. It's not as high as it was under George W. Bush. Oh, wow, good counterpoint. Really changes fucking nothing. Gas is expensive. Diesel is expensive. Shipping charges go up. People start charging more. So then the people who supply the products have to charge more. That's how inflation works. I'm a fucking idiot, and I understand that. I'm not here to just bash him. I really wish that my show had to focus on other things other than Biden's screw-ups. But that's where it's at, you know? So moving on, man. You know, California, we like to brag that we're the fifth largest economy. A lot of that's military contractors. And they're going bye-bye, too, from California. You know, they're pulling a Tesla and they're leaving. But, you know, we are number one in one thing. Violent crime rates. Gosh, I wonder how that happened. Huh. Put a bunch of snowflakes, a bunch of liberal pie-in-the-sky dreamers into a state, and they come up with all of these pro-criminal laws, and we have the violent... Wow. That's interesting. I wonder how that worked out. And now, as we're starting to see COVID declining, its severity declining, vaccinations and treatments options are there. What do they want to do? They want to mandate all employees. This is all employees. This is not about companies with more than 500 employees. This is all. Okay? And like I've said before, if the vaccine actually stopped the spread, okay, I could see why we're doing this, but it doesn't stop the spread. Okay? It doesn't. Lessen symptoms. Ooh. Okay, but it doesn't stop the spread, so therefore it shouldn't be mandated. It just shouldn't be. And now they want to push ahead with it. Because they want to, virtual signal, they're on Biden's side, yay! We're going to mandate things. Well, the people that I know, okay, who aren't vaccinated, come from the communities of color. The very same people that these Democrats are constantly passing laws saying that we need racial equity. Well, where's the racial equity? If black people are not willing to get vaccines, if they don't trust the government, if they don't trust the pharmaceutical companies, that's their fucking choice. And where is our fight back? We're seeing fight back north of the border. Good God, when the Canadians are up in arms, the world should pay attention. So Trump offered $500 billion platinum plan to create black zones of opportunity in 40 cities to bring economic growth back into them. Biden's spending $30 million on crack pipes. Now, we know this isn't entirely true. Various fact checkers, really. Okay. I remember back in the day when we just called them secret police, but whatever. But yeah, part of what they're putting into this package is to promote racial equality, is Narcan and crack pipes. They're going to allow the drug addicts to die on the streets, but they're going to give them Narcan. That's sort of like one of them serial killers who chokes people to the brink of death and brings them back and chokes them and brings them back. But anyhow, dumb plan. It's right there, smoking kits to vulnerable communities. You realize that enabling their drug use is making them even more vulnerable. And, that's what they're going to do. Yeah, they're going to do it through nonprofits and blah, 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 blah. But, a health person from the Human Services Department, whatever the Health and Human Services Department, excuse me. Yeah, okay. It is going to include these things. And it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, we'll get to this a little bit more. But speaking of crackheads, Lori Lightfoot, she's up and down, isn't she? One minute we're on her side when she's telling teachers they need to show up. And then she says shit like carjackings are up because of remote learning, because parents go to work and assume their kids are at online school, but they're out committing carjackings. Oh, okay. Wow. Why don't you just shift the blame? As we see, you don't have to. You could be a Democrat and blame the right people. I know, that's a bizarre concept, but you can be a Democrat, you can be liberal, you can be wanting to help people, but you can put the blame where it belongs, not on kids. Okay, whatever. And we were just talking about this. You could be Democrat and blame the right people. They are making this, Pelosi is bringing forth a bill that's going to limit the ability of senators and such to trade in stocks. Well, behind the scenes, AOC, batshit crazy AOC, okay, she had what's called a discharge petition, where she's trying to force the leadership to propose this bill. And now they're proposing the bill because AOC, look, man, I'll take my allies wherever I can get them. World War II, we were friends with Russia, and then as soon as the war ended, we went into a Cold War with Russia. Okay? That's history, man. Sometimes sometimes the enemy of your enemy is your friend, and blah, 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 blah. But AOC's got a good one here. I mean, she has a point. We could always argue that maybe she's bitter, she doesn't have the money to do it, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. This is a problem that has been going on for a long time, and it's been brought to the spotlight. And she brought it to the spotlight, so bravo. I'll give her one. I'll give her a bell. Okay? Because, she's doing her job. All right? She's not talking batshit crazy. She's going after, these rich white people, basically. These elitists who are willing to fuck over the country for their own dollar bills, y'all. Again, here's another one. This New York City mayor, Eric Adams, he comes in, he's got all this piss and vinegar in him, he's talking all this liberal bullshit, and he quickly realizes that that's not the problem. The problem is that the people who are supposed to help are just helping themselves to another piece of the pie. They're not really doing the work. They get money to do things like homeless advocates. They get money to help the homeless. So they give the homeless money which encourages them to stay on the streets. You see, they're making money. See, a lot of these so-called helping agencies and nonprofits and shit we see it with BLM, okay? They don't distribute any money into the black community. They give the money to politicians, and they buy houses, and they buy other properties, and they've basically absconded with millions and millions of dollars as it looks right now. They're not really helping, and that's the problem. We need to look at these agencies. We need to look at these groups who say they're there to help and receive public money and don't do shit. Shut them down. Just like that. Boom. You're shut down. You're not doing your job. Giving homeless people, we're going to see this later on, a good example of this, but just simply giving homeless people money is not helping. Okay? It's helping that person to stay where they are. It's called enabling. All right? Oh, wait a minute. We've now found a little bit of evidence. Samples were found in soil that came from a Chinese biotech firm. Wait, what? Wait a minute. Weren't people removed from saying it came from a lab? Huh. That's kind of funny. Yeah. You talk about agencies that are supposed to help. Okay. We get this guy, Gascon. His whole thing is about reform. His whole thing is about rehabilitation. Okay? He's got the 3 R's, right? Reform, rehabilitation, and ridiculousness. Because his policies are ridiculous. He is allowing a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old to get off from a DUI. Okay? Okay, here's the problem. Please forgive this. This may go long. I'm going to try to keep it short. I want to tell you, again, if you haven't heard it, my story, okay? My story was I got popped for a whole bunch of crimes, okay? My lawyer was somewhat high profile, okay? Yes, white privilege, okay? It's fine, I'll take it, you know? Back then, we didn't know the name for it. We knew what we were doing. But anyhow, my co-defendant was also a white guy. He took a public defender. Shows you the real failure of the justice system. But anyhow, so I'm up on these charges, and basically what it came down to was I had a choice between 30 days in county, okay, where a little white guy like me would have a hard time surviving, or I could go to a 30-day, essentially lockdown rehab facility, okay? So we chose the rehab, you know, because I'm not stupid. But as soon as I got there, the addiction is a mental illness. It's a voice in your head that comes up with excuses to keep the addiction going. So I was in there, and, you know, while my parents were still doing all the paperwork and stuff, I started freaking out. I ended up throwing chairs, saying that I wanted to leave. Fuck it, I'd take my chance on jail. Because I wanted to drink and I wanted to do crystal. And my parents refused. You know, they didn't back down. They said, if you leave here today, you're not coming home. Because I had already done that before. They had already put me in a rehab when I was much younger. And I had walked the miles and miles and miles from that place. Walked home. Quite the disappointment. But anyhow. So, you know, I realized I was fighting a losing battle. And I was just going to have to outlast this. My plan was, I'll do my 30 days and I'll go back to drinking. That was my plan. So they gave me the medication. I calmed down. I had that moment of clarity. And I started, as they say, working the program. I left the program successfully. I ended up being a president of an AA chapter, smoking weed, because I knew my real problem was alcohol. 6 months or so go by. I finally got a job. The job was getting stressful. I was getting passed up for promotion. Oftentimes I was working, you know, pretty much the majority of my 8-hour shift and then going out for several hours of delivering TVs, which was not easy. But anyhow, I eventually thought, well, I could have a beer. Okay? So, for a few days, I would have a beer after work, and it was cool. But within a few weeks, I was right back to the half pint of vodka to start my day. Okay? And eventually, I was just so drunk on the job that when I got passed up for a promotion again, I basically ripped off my shirt, told everybody to fuck off, blah, 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 blah. Life went spiral again. So, took a long, hard look at myself, and one day I was really high on meth, and I started having the DTs because I got so hyper-focused on whatever my meth brain was doing at the time. I'd forgotten to drink, and I was convinced. And I made a call to a local hospital, much cheaper option than the rehab I had gone to. They gave me some medicine to keep me from seizuring, and I stayed there for 48 hours and got sober. And that was only possible because I was arrested and charged with multiple crimes. The DA was not cutting any deals, and I had an option: either complete rehab or go to jail. That's a diversionary program. I'm glad I took that. If they had simply dismissed the charges against me, I probably wouldn't be here. I sit in front of this camera barely getting any views. I do this because I care. I do this because I know that unless I share some of my acquired wisdom, other people are going to suffer. And under Gascon, that's what's going on. Everybody is now upset with this guy. Freeway signs are slamming him. Banners are popping up because he's not doing anything. And then we find out that he took pre-screened questions from a group of public defenders, snubbing his own staff. During his campaign, he lined it with public defenders. I understand what he's saying. I understand. But this sums it up at the bottom there. Getting ahead in Gascon's district attorney's office depends entirely on your willingness to help him politically. If you take care of him, he'll take care of you. No! He's supposed to be taking care of the city. Not his cronies, not himself. Public service should be selfless, not extremely rewarding. If it is good, if somebody busts their ass and does the right thing and makes some money off of it, I don't care, okay? But what they do is they use their position of power to keep their position of power and to make as much money as they can. They're not doing anything. Even Hollywood is turning on him. See, right here, here's what really upset a lot of people. You're basically telling a 16 or 17-year-old, if you drink and drive, you're not going to get into trouble. You have to, here we go. You have to have the power to do something. If you just let them go, then, what are the consequences? This guy, Tommy, is saying he's been defamed and denied promotions because he's been a critic. But look what he wants to do. In a memo to staff, Gascon directed prosecutors not to pursue charges against minors for a wide range of offenses. Sexual battery, burglary, well, that's one of mine, vehicle theft, yep, assault or robberies, barring they didn't result in serious injury or use a gun. Okay. Again, under Gascon, I would have been lost. Okay? That's the truth. Okay? I was arrested for some of those charges. I was given the choice of jail or rehab. Even when I stumbled, I remembered how to get sober. And I was able to do it. And it took me a lot of years to repair the damage that the drugs and alcohol had did. But now I do okay. We go to concerts. My daughter has what she needs. My wife is happy. My wife, who, by the way, was my girlfriend who stood by me through all that. My sobriety date and my wedding anniversary are the same day. Under Gascon, I would have been lost. My daughter wouldn't exist, and I don't know what would have happened with my wife. Okay? NPR ignored Hunter Biden, but it sent 3 reporters to investigate how thumbs up emoji is racist. That's the kind of shit we're worried about right now. According to this, because I do it myself, I guess I just don't I'm raceless. Oh, okay. No, I just use the yellow because it's the default, and I'm not trying to make statements with my fucking emojis. Okay? I make it with my voice. I come here and I talk. All right? That's what I do. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. NPR, man. Talk about something that needs to be defunded. So, north of the border, we see this is happening. And this really is, I mean, Bronco hits it on the head here. Mostly peaceful during the Antifa BLM riots. You can just say were, okay? BLM gathered the people for the protest. Antifa whipped them up into the riot, okay? Truckers are blocking roads because they're done with the mandates. The mandates are going to cost people jobs, okay? People are fighting for their jobs. They're not fighting to be anti-mandate. Who the fuck cares? Okay? Who cares? If the mandate was be nice to everyone, it'd be an easy mandate. But no, this is get vaxxed or you're going to lose your job. We're going to hit you in the pocketbook. All right? And they're standing up to it. I don't usually pay much attention to Tucker Carlson. Again, I try to stay in the middle as much as possible, but hey, man, I'm giving props where props are due, man. And the Canadian trucker convoy is the single most successful human rights protest in a generation. And he's right. They're calling attention to it. Yes, they're shutting down a city. They're not burning down a city. Do you see a difference? Okay, shutting down a city does not cost people jobs and money. Yeah, it might in short term. Honk, honk. Yeah, they're arresting people for honking in support up there because they're fucking losing their minds. GoFundMe wanted to take the money away because they heard something. I mean, whatever. But Give, Send, Go fires back defiant message after the Canadian government. Give, Send, Go is a Christian-based charity site, okay? They were told by the Canadians, do not give the truckers the money. Give, Send, Go said, you have no authority over us. Here, truckers, here's your money. That's America, okay? America is piss the fuck off if you're on the wrong side. We do the right thing here. We've forgotten that. We've turned America into these two fucking camps that bicker back and forth, and we gloss over the real solutions. Babylon V. GoFundMe freezes funds for child's heart surgery after finding out he supports trucker protest. Yeah, GoFundMe, go fuck me, okay? Because we don't need more of these Chinese government type sites. Censorship. Deciding what's right and wrong. Look, if something is illegal completely, yeah, you can't raise money for it. All right? I get that. I understand that. I understand that there have to be some limits. But if people want to donate to the trucker convoy, donate to it. That's their freedom of expression. I don't care if you're a private company. I think the Constitution, for the most part, applies to companies. Maybe not legally, but morally. If you cheered on or downplayed the BLM Antifa riots that hit Main Street America, I don't care if you're upset at the truck drivers having an actual peaceful protest. Yeah, they are. Oh, you want to show one or two little uprisings that they had as they're getting more and more frustrated now? Okay. But they parked their trucks. That's what they did. They didn't burn a city. Trudeau saying the truckers have no right to shut down the economy to prevent people from living their day-to-day lives. does not appreciate the irony that his government has done this for 2 years. This is what we're facing, okay? People are legit. Kids are legitimately going insane and killing themselves. We have a rash of somewhat high-profile suicides lately. You know, we have actors, we have models, we have co-hosts, we have national shows, stuff like that. People who, under normal circumstances, would be able to find a way out of the darkness. But COVID is taking a toll on us mentally. It's taking a toll on the economy. It's taking a toll on all of us. And it doesn't feel like these mandates and these mask mandates and these vax mandates and, you know, capacity limits and shit like that, doesn't seem like it helped. Okay? I don't see any proof that it helped. You know? Elon Musk, he withdrew his money. He's, you know, I think Elon Musk was probably pretty much a liberal when all of this started, but, you know, he's a smart dude, and he sees that the answers are in the middle, and they're not just with one political party because they're your team, you know? Yeah. It took, you know, a governor and an attorney general to go after GoFundMe. America, we are the greatest country in the world. We may have our flaws, but every country has a flaw. But people like this goo, traitors. Here you go. They're mad about Chinese Americans competing for China's Olympic team while their entire... Here's your white man right here. Here's your white man, Jeremy Smith. There you go. He's a white guy, traitor. Okay? We are at war with China, whether you like it or not. Whether you can't wrap your brain around that. We need to be love and peace and all. No. We're at war with these people. Okay? Russia and China have basically announced they are working together. They don't give a fuck about us. Okay? If we lose Taiwan, oh boy. 80% of our semiconductors. You look up what semiconductors are. You try to figure out how you're going to live without semiconductors. Athletes, for your own safety, don't say anything bad about China. They're ruthless. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Nancy Pelosi speaking the truth. But what do they do about it? What are they doing about it? Because the Chinese don't care that we're calling them ruthless. They want to be ruthless. And here we are. Hashtag immigrants are essential. So supposedly what we're going to do is we pass this bill, and, you know, we're going to pass this bill where we're going to, like, invest in training people to be more competitive in the marketplace and blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, they're allowing huge amounts of high-skilled foreign nationals, such as professors and researchers, which are a well-known source of Chinese espionage. It is. There's plenty of articles that support that. You know, a quarter of all student visas went to Chinese nationals, as well as 12% of employment-based green cards. See, that's the thing. They say they're going to help us, but what they really do is they help China. I think because both are socialist, communist, dictators, they really mesh well together. And I think that's why the Democrats are sort of working with China. You know? It doesn't make any sense. Like I said at the beginning, fair and balanced, right? So here's some bullshit. This lady, Pamela Moses, activist, founded Black Lives Matter in Memphis, okay? I think these local chapters are probably more idealistic than corrupt. But because of her criminal record, she wasn't allowed to vote, but it wasn't really made clear to her. She registered, she voted a couple times, and she's getting 6 years. 6 years. We had a guy here in California who committed armed robbery. He got out in 6 months, and on the day he got out, he kidnapped, robbed, and raped a woman. 6 months, and she's getting 6 years. What? I don't understand why it is that when something like equity is so obviously needing to be applied, it's not applied. But then it's applied to stupid shit like crack pipes and emojis. I'm also going to tell Donald Trump to shut the fuck up here. I don't think Joe Rogan was apologizing to the wrong people. What he was apologizing for was if he did offend anybody, if he did harm anybody, he takes responsibility for it. Okay? I hate to say it, but Trump has a hard time taking responsibility. I don't want him back in 2024. And that's one of the reasons people don't watch here, because I don't sit here and just bash the Democrats and cheer for Trump. Okay, say the center and common sense. And saying this crap that Rogan shouldn't apologize is just fueling the flames. Rogan did the right thing, okay? He used the N-word in what I consider to be, I guess, an academic context, okay? He didn't use it in a hurtful way. He didn't use it in a joke, okay? Others did. Jimmy Kimmel, that piece of shit. You know, he's a racist motherfucker, but they keep him on TV, okay? But let's not get on that tangent. Rogan took down some episodes, okay? He's not trying to be the next Alex Jones. He's not running around talking about vaccines making frogs gay. He's trying, much like myself, who, you know, I base a lot of my political views somewhere in that realm of what Joe Rogan does, which is to see both sides and try to come to the center. So Trump shut the fuck up. So this is another story that kind of shows how the policy doesn't actually help anybody. The failure of Oregon's hard drug decriminalization. You know, they wrote out 1,300 of them. 816 of them, over half, or a majority really, never showed up for their court date. Okay? 55 out of the 1,800 people cited. Boom. Okay, there you go. It's the way they write is weird. But anyhow, 55, 3%, completed the screening and assessments. And 9 months after this, only 8 people requested treatment. Addiction is very powerful, folks. It is a voice in your head. It is an undeniable force in your brain. And you need to be forced into these decisions. Okay? People need to understand addiction before they try to figure out ways of fixing it. And one of the things is you've got to put them on rock bottom, and you've got to put them between a rock and a hard place, because that is the only way. The only way. That's why you have functioning alcoholics. They can keep the marriage. They can keep the job. They're never put under pressure to clean up their act, and the voice wins every single day. Look at all these deaths that Portland's had. You know? They've had 291 deaths from meth in the first half of 2021 versus 391 in all of 2020. 237 deaths in the first half compared with 230 in the entirety of 2020. These policies of allowing drug addicts to do drugs and to get away with it and to see no consequences, it only results in death. Okay? I mean, it's pure and simple. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. This is one of the times where you need to look at it and realize this doesn't work. I don't care that my team supports it. It doesn't work. It's wrong. Fox News is demolishing all the other ones. You can read that for a second while I get some Wawa out of my sippy sip. It's quite simple why this is happening. Because, sure, Fox News is right-leaning, but the other ones are biased. It's a big difference. There's a big difference between not really wanting to date. Okay, let's say you don't want to date a black woman. Okay, that's Fox News. Let's say I'm white. I don't want to date a black woman. What the other ones are is black women should be rounded up and removed from the country. See, it's a totally different extreme. Totally different extreme. And that's what people need to keep an eye on with these things. The difference between leaning and bias. Everyone used to be leaning. That's how I remember it. LA Times, they were liberal leaning, okay? But they weren't biased. All right? They weren't willing to lie for their team. Fox News, they may stretch the truth or accentuate certain things, exaggerate a little bit here and there, all of that. But CNN just lies. That's why CNN's behind, like, Inspiration and HGTV and Discovery. You know, they're behind the USA. I don't even know one show on the USA channel. And yet, CNN can't beat them. Huh. Okay. Yeah. They were the only option that surpassed the $1 million mark. Or the 1 million viewer mark. I don't watch Fox News. Okay? I consider them to be more trustworthy, though. Hunter Biden. Yeah, well, you know, he's still a pile of shit. So this guy right here gets paid $620 monthly to be homeless in San Francisco and enjoys Amazon Prime and Netflix. Okay? And this is what we were talking about. See, he makes one phone call and he gets hundreds of dollars and hundreds more in food stamps. That's his motivation. That is his motivation. But nobody calls that out. Nobody calls out that that's what homeless advocacy groups do. That homeless advocacy groups make more money the more homeless people there are, so they have an incentive to keep people homeless. That's the kind of shit that I want to change. I don't care what side does it, but somebody's got to do it. This was an interesting one, going back to the fact checkers of Facebook. You know, this lady was talking about how more people die in the cold. See, there's right there, 500,000 people die because temperatures are too hot, while 4.5 million people die because it's cold. 9 times more likely to die from the cold than the heat. So maybe global warming isn't so bad after all. It was just part of a conversation she was having, you know. Not necessarily whether climate change is real, blah, 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 all that. No. But she gets a strike or a banner put at the bottom of her thing because she's pointing out something that's just mathematical. Okay? She wasn't using it as any sort of argument for anything. It was just something interesting that she had written and you know. Anyhow, yeah, it's right there. Okay. She has to cite one of the lead authors instead of putting them in her own words. Okay. Great. Anyhow. Thanks for voting Democrat. Yeah, that's 6 burglaries in one night in Minnesota's wealthiest cities. One night. You know, that's what defund the police will get you. That's what soft on crime DAs will get you. I don't understand why something isn't being done to solve this problem. It's undeniable. Undisputable, irrefutable, unquestionable, unchanging science changing again. Yeah, there's a difference between science and the science, as we're finding out now. The way they went after Republican governors for ending mandates and things like that, calling them murderers, then when the Democrats start doing it, the science has changed. This is the bias. And this is their attempt to keep you stupid. All you need to know is vote for the D and everything will be fine. Don't look at what we're doing. Don't read into what you're actually signing up for. Just vote for us and everything will be fine. Because you're too stupid to know any better. Because the media in the back pocket of the Democrats. That's the way it works. Clarence Thomas surprised to hear how important black representation on SCOTUS is to a man who viciously tried to destroy him. Yeah, Biden used the N-word in the middle of that. Okay? That's who you progressives, you equity warriors, voted for. A guy that used the N-word. Okay, cool. Conservative who boycotts all woke companies now alone in cave with his Goya beans and My Pillow. I don't know. Like CDC director now says to just do whatever Texas did 12 months ago. It's about where we're at right now. Remember, Abbott was a murderer. I love this one because it gets a COVID. It gets the COVID banner at the bottom. Saki says everyone will have to show proof of vaccination before receiving free crack pipe. And they fact check that. Oh, it goes through many tests for. I love how they say that too. COVID vaccines go through many tests for safety and effectiveness, and then are monitored closely. Okay, the source is the World Health Organization, bought and paid for by the Chinese, who possibly started this whole thing. God. Yeah. Tyrannical fascist governor orders citizens to just do whatever they want. Like, you can, oh. Yeah, that's right, because that's essentially what they call Republicans fascists all the time, and they lambasted DeSantis and Abbott and others and praised Newsom. That's just so stupid. Biden administration issues new masks with holes in them so you can smoke your free government crack pipe. These people are a fucking laughing stock, okay? It's a laughing stock. All right, you can make all the little Trump memes you want, but like, you can't top this, okay? This is the B. You can't top that. Building the border back better. He's now a travel agent. I'm telling you, I mean, I will put every left-wing comedian and memer up against Bronco and Babylon B, and it will be fucking destroyed, okay? The B and Bronco will just absolutely liquefy anyone you put in the ring. Bring it, suckers, because you can't meme. Okay? Your guy just literally wakes up in the morning and writes this shit for him. The movie nobody watched nominated to receive award at a ceremony nobody watches. Yeah, you know why? Because people are starting to wake up that Hollywood is just preachy motherfuckers. And nobody wants that. I want to go and relax, okay? I don't want to have all of this shit shoved in my face on a constant basis. Whatever. 4D chess. Truckers loot Nike stores, burn some cop cars, so GoFundMe will reinstate them. It is, again, it's, look, roasted. I don't understand how people are not catching on to this. It's it's a clown show out there, man. COVID mandates. Well, look, 2022 election. It is funny how the election is coming up, and all of a sudden the mandates are going on. They're like, oh shit, America doesn't like to be told what to do. Oh, yeah. Look, get a vaccine, don't get a vaccine. It matters not to me. I have mine, but I ain't scared either way. So whether you're vaccinated or wearing a mask, I don't care. All right? I shake hands with people. I don't wash my hands. I don't know how to explain it to you, but some people just have different levels of fear. If you're worried about it, that's fine. But the government doesn't need to tell you to do it. Child suicides did not get them to lift COVID restrictions. Bad poll numbers did. The people who run this country are monsters. Yes. That's what Purple State stands for. All right? I myself would never, ever impose this unless the vaccines actually work to the point where they would win and destroy the disease and remove COVID from the planet Earth. But it's not going to, okay? They're like flu shots, okay? They may have some benefits, and that's fine. I'm not denying that. I don't even care, all right? I don't care. Neil Young fans trying to delete Spotify. That was seriously, man, one of the best things I had seen all week. I didn't think anything would top it, but yet this did. Android iPhone. It's funny because the iPhone's battery dies before Mufasa does. That's not right or left. That's a whole different argument, a whole different yay, my team type thing. But that's looking awesome. That is awesome, man. He just turned that around on that dude. I like that. So anyhow, I want to conclude with something Tulsi Gabbard said. She's talking about Senator Grassley here. He's a Republican from Iowa, and he's 88 years old. He's older than my parents. And yeah, he's Republican. Keep that in mind because, I'm against the Democrats right now, but at some point I'm going to move on to those other old white folk. The purpose of a political party is to bring in as many members as you can. Really, asked Tulsi. Is it not to serve the interests of the American people? No wonder they always put party before country. Okay, now she's talking about the Republicans. I think this cuts both ways. To be honest with you, I don't know how she feels about it, but for my purposes, it cuts both ways. All right? This is the problem. All right? You need to put America above the party. That's it. Put America above the party. Both sides. Put America above the party. Copious out. Good luck, everyone.